Penon 10th Anniversary Edition IM. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a 2 dynamic driver, 2 BA, 2 EST driver IM that costs around $500, but you might be able to find discounts and all that. This is an IM from a brand named Penon. Now, you won't see too many reviews from Penon because they often do most of their marketing via HeadFi, which is a little bit tumultuous. We'll talk about that in the conclusion. But for now, let's look at the build quality, let's talk about the sound, and then we'll go from there. Wait, I got this from a friend of the channel, and I want to give a big shout out to him. Big, huge thanks. Sometimes you guys will trust me to review products, and there's a lot of people in the United States where shipping's pretty simple. So big shout out to anyone who sends me IMs for review to make content for you guys. Much appreciated. Thank you. The shell of this IM looks durable. It feels good, but it is a hollow resin IM, which is very cheap, which is disappointing because you would expect at this price to at least be filled in. So it is kind of a chintzy shell. I have been babying it and taking good care of it since it's not mine. But I didn't really notice any issues. I like the faceplate is a flat 2-pin cable connector. It has a nice nozzle that holds on to ear tips. I do like the ability to see your drivers, and it is vented for those that need a vented IM. All around, I don't have a problem with this IM shell, but those that might that need a little bit more substantial or better build quality. This is the case. I think it's nice. I have a little 10 in there so I can remember that this is the 10th edition. This came in a box of about 5 Penons, and so it kind of helps me remember, but it's a nice little case. No fault with it. I think it's pretty. This is the box I kept it in and the cable that it is on it. You'll notice we have red for right here, blue for left for our cable connectors. There are no ear hooks on this, which is kind of a bad thing in my take, but you know, it's not a big deal depending on what you need. The chin slider does stay in place. It has a nice looking Y split. Its cable it's okay. It stays in place. It's not bad. It terminates in a 4.4, so there you go. This is the Penon website. You can buy them here. I think they're even being sold on Amazon now. You'll notice a lot of 5-star reviews. We'll talk about review scores at the end of the conclusion. But I mean, all around, it's a nice looking package. You can see it here. It looks nice. It has nice drivers. You know, it's a fair price for that amount of drivers. All right, the Penon 10th Anniversary Edition. Look, I almost bought this, you know, and I saw a video one time, Timmy from Gizadia, well, I guess he's now from Tim Tarrant and kind of from Hangout, but whatever. He did a video about kind of your ranked tier companies. You know, as a YouTuber, I don't really appreciate Penon because they don't really send me stuff. I mean, I know a lot of guys on HeadFi get sent stuff, but again, we'll talk about that at the end. It's an interesting company because they don't send out a lot of stuff to YouTubers, but I'm going to still try to give you guys an honest take on this IM. The vocals are thick. There's a warm tonality. It is not a neutral set. There's nice drivers, some nice tonality to it, but it's just not great. There's a nice visceral impact and level of the dynamics, but it's not really great and feels kind of tinny, flabby. This is a fun set, but it's a bit hissy. It's a bit fatiguing. I don't hate it, but it's not something that I would ever want to listen to or reach for. I feel there's a lot of better IEMs at a much cheaper price. The bass is pillowy, has a lot of energy. Maybe not a good, but it's fine for some. There's a nice tactile nature to this. It's kind of rough and rich, but it's not really my signature, and it's a very distinct V that I don't know if I would really go for. As far as like this IM, it's kind of strange. It has like this lack of like piercing clarity and sibilance. It just doesn't really sound good. There's a forwardness in the instruments and like drum snares and string attacks that feels a little bit too incisive and forward. It doesn't really have a clean, clear sound stage due to that, and it can add a little bit of listening fatigue. I even was listening to this for just a few moments this morning, confirming some of my impressions, and it was hard to listen to for long periods of time. There's a bit of a less vocal presence because there's a dip in the mids. There's an altered tonal balance where this becomes hyper V rather than slightly flat, slightly neutral with the nice mids. This becomes one of those things that has an odd soundstage ability, and there's not very great clarity and a bit of fatigue for me. So all around, in summary of the experiences of this IEM, not particularly great. But let's look at some graphs. All right, so here's the graph, and you'll notice quite a few things. The mid region presence isn't bad. The upper treble does fall off like quite a bit, like a cliff over in this region here. There's a lot of 8K, a nice big dip around 2K, which I don't know, I feel is pretty prominent on other sets. Like I didn't plan on talking about this, but the ISBN EBC 80 kind of has a dip like that. I didn't plan on making this conclusion, but it just kind of came to me. I will say that the EBC 80 is a way better IM to me, although it's a bit more expensive. But I didn't really like it that much, but I still like it better than the Penon 10th, and I still think it's a nice, fun, engaging set in a lot of regards. But I mean, this set has issues. It kind of has this warm, thick, rich bass, like kind of has a thumpy bass response. But if you'll notice, this dip here causes a lot of issues in the vocals and this extra kind of hiss and fatigue. So you have to think about where you're going to keep your volume at. Like let's have our volume matched at say 700 hertz because that's the lowest point. So like I'm trying to hear details, so I'll go ahead and normalize at 700 hertz, which just means that this red line is going to be lined up with my target. So you can get a better idea of the contrast this is over. So you have a little bit of extra region. This becomes a very, very warm set with a very distinct V right here. And all this energy here becomes a little bit hissy and over the top for me. There's a reason that this all is centered in the middle of the graph on most things, because this is the most important region in my opinion. The mids, like the 300 to like 3000, like this part to me is the most important, and to me they've kind of cooked this here. I prefer when my bass starts off about 300. I can even do 150, maybe even 125, or it just kind of pops off and gives me a little bit of bass. But in here, it starts way at like 700, which it's not ideal. So at 500, what would I get? I mean, there's a lot of great sets out there at 500, depending on what you want to do. So I'm just going to mention a few of the super hype sets that I would go for. This is the YU9 Chue. Notice the flat mids. Notice a nice bass rise. Notice there's not too much upper mids, and this 8K spike is done, and this is flat to the curve. It sounds like glass. It's a great IEM. It's my highest ranked IEM under like 500. It's just a nice set. And I think it's probably my IEM of the year. It's just a great set. I'd encourage you guys to try it or demo it at a show if you can. If you have the Dosh, just buy it. It's that good. Would I recommend the Penon 10th anniversary over? Absolutely not, to almost nobody. I think some people might like the 10th anniversary more, but if you're going after a clean, fun, engaging sound that's fairly neutral, I just don't think the 10th anniversary really has it. Other sets, you know, like the Zensmaker Group T Pro, it's almost the exact same graph. Same quality, same characteristics. I just think it's such a better set. It still holds up really well. It's also $500. I think it's a better shell, better everything, but you know, that's me. Another set that's a little bit cheaper, you got the Zigot Luna, and there's a lot of, almost all the Zigots are better than the Penon 10th, and that's at least from my ear, from what I can tell. I really like the Zigot Luna. There's a lot of even other Zigots that are cheaper. I think the most expensive Zigot right now is the Luna or the Arcanus, but you'll probably get those on sale with a discounted price with coupons here in the next few weeks. Yeah, there's going to be massive sales around Amazon Prime Day here, and like, what is that, October 7th through the 8th here coming up, so just something to note. If you want this tonality, something you can get is this bass and mix PD. It's like $80, It has a nice warm tonality. You can see whether you really like a warm tonality. I would almost go as far as to say that the Bass & Mix PD is better. It just has a better graph, a better tonality. It's a lot of fun. It's super engaging. It has a little bit less dips. And instead of being 500, it's like 80. And that's kind of my take on it, that if you want to warm, there's other things to get. The Penon 10th anniversary. Let's talk about it. Solid C, $500 set. I mean, it's for a $500 set, not only is it not very good, it's just kind of okay in general. Its bass impact is kind of nice, but it's not really clean and a little bit flabby. Its details and treble are fine, but they're a little bit cooked and fatiguing. It's a different fun. It's a fun set. Like, I will say this, like, at a C level, you might like a C. That's my opinion. You might like these ones, but I'm just not going to wreck them at all. I think the 10th anniversary is one of those ones that has a lot of faults, and it doesn't meet my criteria for what I would recommend. Now, as by the brand, you know, when I was going to buy this, I was thinking about the Night Oblivion Buddha Store or the 10th anniversary, and I went with the Buddha Store, and I think that's a better choice. It's something I didn't talk about, the comparisons, but I think that's kind of a good way to go, even though that's kind of a sub-brand of Penon. But we're kind of counting it for now. And I think there's other sets, even from the brand, that are better than the 10th anniversary, but, you know, people might like it, and that's fine. So, Penon. Are they worth it as a company, and why do you not see a lot of reviews on YouTube? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's other people that review them, but oftentimes they'll send them out to people and they'll require them to people to give 4-star reviews. I know Tone Deaf Monk has talked about this. He's worked with them in the past. Tone Deaf Monk and I both share something that we were both head-fi reviewers on paper before we both became YouTubers, and so I know a little bit more about the business of head-fi reviews than them. Than the average YouTuber. So it's an interesting IM company. They market their product in a different way. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just trying to be honest about it, that they have this way where they market things to people and they encourage people in the hobby to be almost hyperbolic about things. The hobby is a funny thing. You might get two IMs, one good, one bad, and one person may not like them just for various reasons. They might be treble sensitive. They might be bass sensitive, or they just hate too much bass. That doesn't make you a bad person. That makes you an audiophile. That makes you human. We all have different needs and wants. Sometimes certain amounts of bass or treble sounds good in other types of music, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just something that we kind of gotta learn to deal with. But this is an interesting company, and they do some good products. I got to hear their Archangel, and I'm a huge fan. I got to hear their Penon 3S, which I have a review of coming up pretty soon. That's a pretty solid IEM. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below, but I will say that I'm glad 2 years ago I didn't buy this set. It was this or the Buddha Store, and I felt like I did good with the Buddha Store. It's an interesting hobby. Be careful what you buy. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!
You're mid, you're mid, you're mid, you're legendary. You're mid, Jaytiss out.